So yeah, I would be nervous, but I really hope it fails spectacularly because that head coach is the biggest piece of garbage in sports. What a loser. Absolute turd.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today on this Top Shelf Tuesday edition, Natalie attired Captain for Life, Will Cotton. Will, how you doing, sir?
Most comfortable T-shirt I own.
Love it. And our team leader is here with us this morning, the King of Petty, Mike King. Mike, what's going on? It is always good to see you. Can't wait to talk preseason football with you.
Ready to be petty.
All right, so in segment one, we're going to talk preseason football as the NFL made the announcements of who's playing when and so forth. Segment two, I want to talk about, is this the direction your coach should go in? I want to talk about some coaching moves. And in segment three, we want to talk quarterback battles that you didn't know you needed to follow. But first, let's get ready for some preseason football. The NFL announced the television networks and the kickoff times for our preseason slate of games. The 5 preseason games that will be televised nationally starts off with the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams playing the Houston Texans in the Hall of Fame game. You will also see nationally the Saints against the 49ers, the Colts and the Bengals, the Cardinals and the Broncos, and the Patriots and the Commanders get a primetime slot. You'll also need Amazon Prime to watch some of this. Preseason games run from August 1st through the 25th. That will be in the middle of our summer schedule, so we're all good there. Will, how interested are you in the preseason?
I like the preseason. It's a good, we're back. We're back to football, Feels like everything's good, right? The players were preseason and the fans, we have to see who we're going to watch the game with. Where's the best ways to watch? Do I need a new TV? Which beer am I going with this year? There's a lot of things that go into the season. So it should be fun for the fans. Obviously, we're back running with football, even if there's no games that don't count. It's always a little happier on Sundays with football. So it's good to be back. So I'm happy to hear it's back for sure.
Mike, how interested are you in the preseason, sir?
I couldn't care less. Means nothing. Since they've gone to the new, less games because there's a bigger regular season, the coaches treat it as more of a joke than they treated it before. It used to be there was a ramp up and then they kind of brought it back down. And then the last game was kind of meaningless. Now each game's meaningless. They play for like a series. I don't need to watch, the guys that aren't making the team. I don't care. You get more from especially with social media and all the people covering the teams. You get everything you need from training camp and all that. Like I've already seen that Malik Neighbors has had a practice better than any wide receiver the Giants have had since Odell Beckham. He's not going to play in the games, or if he does, it'll be who knows what quarterback throwing him. But I couldn't care.
All right, Mike, great segue. How much are we playing people? So let's see how nervous you are. If you're an Eagles fan, we're going to talk about the Eagles. Jalen Hurts said that 95% of the offense being installed in the offseason is new. And it's to a point where you feel I'm going to be a little comfortable. I might not be a little comfortable. Will, how nervous are you if you're an Eagles fan, if you're hearing Jalen Hurts saying he's having some trouble kind of comprehending the offense?
It's hard to be really worried about it or nervous. I mean, this is June. I mean, how nervous can you be? I mean, you get new teammates every year. You get new changes and nuances every year. For him to say he's 95%, installed, I mean, I would be more comfortable with that. It's less about the actual scheme and what's being installed than the actual what's going on in the locker room. That's where I'd be asking them, hey, how's the locker room going? How you guys feeling? You guys feeling good? You guys friends with everybody? Everybody, showing up to barbecues and, sending texts for teams and, hey, congratulations to your son or your daughter graduate. That's what I'm worried about in the summer. That's when you build your camaraderie. He's a professional. He should go in and install. I mean, what plays are you going to run that you don't or haven't seen before? So I'm not too worried about that, man. This is building that scheme, building that chemistry. I think that's the 5% that they're missing. And I think they'll be fine. We'll see what happens when you get to the season, but I think that's what the 5% is.
Okay, Mike, you've got to follow the Eagles because of the Giants, and you being a Giants fan extraordinaire. It was reported that players are still adjusting to the new details. The timing has been hit and miss. How are you feeling if you're an Eagles fan going into the preseason, sir?
They lost 2 coordinators before last season, and it wasn't as good. So I'd be nervous because was it those guys or is it the most obnoxious head coach that's won nothing but mean mugs in front of the camera like he's earned it? I'd be nervous because, again, you got to prove that it's not those 2 guys that got 2 head coaching jobs and last year fell apart. So I'd be nervous. You had some older people retire, but they had a lot of,
they had some leaders retire.
Yeah, they've lost leaders.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
locker room
big time.
Didn't have leadership.
Hall of Fame leaders.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would be nervous, but I really hope it fails spectacularly because that head coach is the biggest piece of garbage in sports. What a loser! Absolute turd.
I love this guy. All right, Will, to close out segment 1, I want to go to the Colts. Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson was held out of the final preseason, off-season, not preseason, the off-season practice, right shoulder soreness. He had an AC joint sprain. He was seen hanging out with trainers, and Joe Flacco's there, so you have nothing to fear.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about the Colts? I know you like Anthony Richardson. How nervous are you?
I'm a little nervous. I mean, anytime gets hurt, you got to kind of think about things. The funny thing is, when I was reading the notes and all the pre-production notes, I looked at the video when he got hurt, and he got hurt was a PA bootleg, and he got tackled trying to break through 2 like a linebacker and a safety, and it smushed him. So I think there's a little concern, because that's part of his skill set is running. But it's good to, hey, I love that the Colts are just like, hey, get a couple reps, go get some ice. We know you're going to be the starter. You're not battling nobody. There's no contract that you're worried about right now. So I think they're in a good spot where they can kind of be very, very, they just be very easy with it. They don't have to rush. They don't have to push. There's no rush. So a little concerning, but I'm not. Again, it's June. How concerned can you be? So
okay, Mike, close us out. Anthony Richardson, Colts. Are you nervous or AFC South terrible? Everybody's got a shot.
I'd be nervous just because this isn't like he only was injured in the NFL and in college he was always healthy. He was injured a lot in college. Torn meniscus, he had concussions, he had hamstring issues. Like he gets injured. I got a quarterback on the Giants who gets injured every year. When you got a quarterback who gets injured every year, good or bad, they're bad because he only, you're not playing. Who cares? So I'd be nervous. It's year 2, but again, this plagued him a little bit in college. I would just be nervous that there's always something.
I'd be upset if you still had that play where he got hit. Like, that's still in the playbook. Get that out of there.
Get that out of the playbook.
Get that out of the playbook.
All right. So, Ferris, when we get back in segment 2, the odd coaches are going to talk about some coaching moves that are going on in the offseason during training camps. We'll see what happens with that. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast.
The CKA SAVE Project is an industry leader in advocating for student-athlete, academic, and athletic needs. Through academic and athletic enrichment, the CKA SAVE project is on the forefront of the issues facing 21st century student athletes. As student athletes continue to struggle to find a better balance between academic and athletic success, the CKA SAVE project offers academic and athletic services to support student athlete academic success, including academic skills assessment, academic and athletic consulting, academic monitoring, academic and athletic workshops. For more information or to schedule a free consultation, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. In segment 2, is this the direction you want your coach to go to? So, Mike, I'm going to start with you, Miami. Coach Mike McDaniel, he's trying to end the Miami playoff drought. And despite making the playoffs in each of his first 2 seasons, the Dolphins have not won a postseason game since 2000 and have just 6 appearances since the turn of the century. Miami won 11 games last year, but lost 4 of its final 6, including a 3-game losing streak to close out the season. McDaniel is embracing the challenge, and since it's been 24 years, he's using the number 24 in a lot of different things, such as staff meetings starting at 12:24. Through his first 2 seasons, the Dolphins own a 4-10 record in December, winning time, including those 2 playoff losses. So, Mike, what are we doing, man? Why are coaches writing checks for players that the coaches can't cash?
I think they didn't lose to bums in the playoffs. They lost to the Chiefs, who won the Super Bowl, and they lost at Buffalo by 3 back when Buffalo was a contender. They've had some injuries at the end of the year, and they're a warm weather team in a warm weather city that does bad in December. But again, what kind of football do they play? They play, throw the ball down the field, and it's not a lot of old-fashioned, I got to win in December, January football. They're just not built that way. So I look at his first 2 years and go, yeah, there are things that could be better, but they were supposed to be trash. He took over a trash team, and they've been able to have these terrible December to make the playoffs because he does such a good job beginning of the season. Again, year 3, I'm a Mike McDaniel fan. I like him. Probably because he's not in a division that I'm against, but I like Mike McDaniel.
All right. So, Will, from September to November, Miami owns a 16-6 record, 4th best during that span. And Mike McDaniel has said he's not going to run from or ignore the negative attention. He'd rather just face it. What are you thinking about his approach to this season? What do you think?
I think he's just asking for consistency. I know last year he had a plethora of injuries with the running back. I mean, Achan, who blew up and then got injured, what's his name? Chase Edmond never really panned out. It's hard to ask if Mostert is going to do the same thing again, but got hurt towards the end of the season or banged up, so he wasn't as good. Jalen Waddle was getting hurt up and back. They just have to focus on staying healthy, man. I mean, if they can play, they can win the games. I think if they had beaten Buffalo at the end of the season, they would have been playing in Miami in the playoffs, and they would have probably had a better chance at winning that game. But, the biggest thing is you can talk a lot of trash and scheme and all this stuff, but you gotta keep your guys healthy. And you need some luck. You kind of have to get some luck. I mean, I don't know how you generate it. If you do, can you let me know? Because I need some. But they just need some of that luck, man. And that's some of the stuff that the Chiefs get. They know how, the Steelers, the Ravens, those teams just know how to get that luck. And the Dolphins have spent the last 30, 40 years without it. So we'll see what happens. But it's good that he is very he says the right things. I'll say that. He gets you hyped, he's ready to go. If you're a casual fan, you're like, okay, he sees it, he's ready to go. But we'll see what happens. But health is for them.
All right. Well, I'm going to stay with you, the Steelers. So the Steelers revealed their 2024 training camp schedule with one big change. Unlike previous training camps, the majority of Steelers practices will take place in the morning instead of the afternoon. Okay. So, what do you think about the change with Mike Tomlin with that? Is that going to give you benefits moving forward this season?
Coach, I remember when we used to start basketball, we used to start with what was it called again? 10-minute
12-minute
offense.
offense. 12-minute
12-minute
offense.
offense. 12-minute offense. Small instances, small moves that built up a bigger thing. I think a big thing of, hey, we're all going to start earlier. That's already a maturity kind of thing to me, because I'm getting older. I'm like, man, I could wake up at 7 a.m. and do this. Man, if I woke up at 6:30, I could knock this out. I see that they're trying to build the maturity in the team and showing the focus and if everybody's going with it, I think that's a great, thing. It's just good process changings. Sometimes you'll hear people say, like, remember when last training camp they were like, oh well, Eric Bieniemy, he was going too fast and da 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 da, and he's doing all this, and Ron Rivera came and he was throwing out pool tables and skee ball and no more cards or things like that. It seems like he's made this change with no issues and nobody's complaining. Nobody is making any big, like, hey, well, I got to wake up at this time and do this. So it's a good start, good foundation. And the Steelers is always great franchise. So I always expect that this is something that we'll see towards the end of the season, that we like, this started with this and this is the product we got.
Okay. Mike, what do you think about this? It's a small move, but do you think it's going to give benefit?
Start early. I love starting early. Where I work, it used to be earlier. They moved it later to be better for whatever kind of nonsense they spent millions of dollars investigating and figuring it out, and nothing's changed. Start as early as possible, end earlier. You get more rest. You have more free time, and as the day goes on, it's way better. I'm on board.
Okay. I'm on board. All right. Finally, in this segment, Mike, I'm going to stay with you. What advantage are we getting cheating in June? The Detroit Lions have lost one day of organized offseason activities after breaking rules related to on-field contact during a practice the week of May 27th. Detroit had organized team activities planned, but the final session has been forfeited. Mike, what are we doing? Why are we hitting in May? Any thoughts on that?
You do most of your cheating in May and June before the season starts. It's harder to cheat when the season starts. The only ones that get away with cheating during the season are Michigan, for college football.
Nice.
You cheat preseason, so you're ready to go in the regular season. But just don't get caught. If it's obvious what you're doing, you're going to get caught. So that's dumb. But yeah, as well as anybody, all the cheating happens now.
Well, come on, man. We like the Lions.
The refs start cheating later. Right now, it's the coaches.
What are we getting as a former football player, Will? What are we getting out of hitting in May? What do we get?
You just get, man. It's all about camaraderie, man. It's all about, we're out here. You hear a good pop, man. You're hyped. You're ready to go, man. Unfortunately, that's something you couldn't do anymore. But it's a good thing, man. Because one, I don't think, first of all, to tell me you lose one day of organized off-season workouts, these dudes have been working out the last 2 months, or at least a month for the rookies, the veterans the last month. So trust me, if you lose one day, nobody's just sitting around playing video games, eating pizza. Those guys are getting in getting the workout in. They'll find a field. They're getting the reps in. Hey, so-and-so, meet me over here. It's not, coach, you already know what it is, man. It's like, hey, Tua, you on the same field as me? Or hey,
what is the
man,
happenstance of that?
Right, exactly. St. Brown, you go to the same gym I do. So they'll find ways around it. It's good. It's great camaraderie. I don't think it's going to mean anything. It just means that they're ready to go, and the NFL isn't ready for them to go yet. We need y'all to make it to September, please. No no hard hits.
All right, so fans, when we get back in segment 3, we're going to talk about the quarterback battles you didn't think you needed to know about, but we're going to tell you anyway. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student-athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Fowler Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams, just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student-athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 3. The preseason quarterback information you didn't know you needed to know, but let's give it to you anyway. Seattle. 1, there is no quarterback competition in Seattle, okay? Geno Smith is the QB1. However, Sam Howell is the backup, and we're looking forward to watching Sam Howell play in Seattle during the preseason. So, Mike, Sam Howell, I'm giving you something to watch. What do you think about Seattle? Is Geno the future? He just got his contract, or do you think Sam Howell can impress enough to have some extra conversations? What say you, sir?
Geno's 33. Sam Howell's a bum. So the future, Geno's the present. The future is probably a college freshman or sophomore right now. Someone we haven't heard of yet. That's the future. Sam Howell's not the future. I know you like Sam Howell. Sam Howell's not the future.
Will, what are you thinking about the Seattle non-quarter? They got a similar Kirk Cousins, Michael Penix situation, right?
No.
Not at all.
They're just buying in the idea that, hey, if the season is getting longer, we just have to prepare ourselves to have a capable, sorry, Mike King did say that, to have a capable quarterback to run the show a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I don't think it's a kind of, it's real. I mean, and it's a middle, they're just they're on the bridge right now. They know Geno Smith is not the future. He's the present, like Mike King says. They paid him like a king's ransom. So there should be no issues or starting or things like that. But we have to remember Seattle is a very good organization, and they usually make decisions pretty smartly. But they put Sam Howell in a good position to play well, but I don't think has to worry about nothing. It's just, sounds sexy though.
All right, we're going to stay with you, Will, and talk about Detroit. Hendon Hooker is on the field. He experienced his, quote, redshirt year last year because of the injury. Jared Goff is QB1. There's no doubt, and he's like a ridiculously highly paid quarterback. But if Hendon Hooker didn't get injured his senior year or his final year in college, might have been different. He's competing for the backup spot. So now, fans, we've given you something to watch in terms of the Detroit Lions preseason games. Will, what are you thinking about Hendon Hooker?
They got to figure out something because he's getting close to that contract time. He's getting close to money, so he's gonna get more like, hey, I gotta play. I need a contract, dude. I'm not just gonna be sitting holding a clipboard and doing things like that for Jared Goff. So they're gonna have to make a decision. I think Goff has maybe 2 years left on his contract or 3 years. Mike King would know that.
4.
Maybe 4. Yeah. So I mean, you're getting into a situation where you may have to pay 2 quarterbacks or you let one go. But again, he hasn't really shown us anything for us to say that, okay, well, ready to move over or ready to move on. Or even he has even said hey, I need to be starter. But they should just keep an eye on it and just make sure hey, man, money can get very expensive, especially for quarterbacks. So just keep an eye on what's going on. And again, this isn't the Lions from the 90s. This isn't the Lions from the 2000s. This apparently is a very capable organization who runs it very well. So I think they'll make the right decisions when that comes times.
Mike, I got you watching Hendon Hooker, right? Now you're going to watch Detroit preseason games. What say you, sir?
No, because they can't get out of this contract really for 4 years. I'm looking at the contract here. $27 million cap hit this year, 32 next, then $69 million cap hit, then 54. Then they could potentially get out with only $14 million in dead cap. Otherwise, they could maybe get out 2027 with $29 million in dead cap. But yeah, they're stuck with him for at least 3 years, it looks like.
So Jared Goff is their quarterback, but Hendon
Hooker's a second year.
Can he be a solid number 2?
I think he could be a solid quarterback. But we have to see him, right? You never know until you actually. NFL's different, but I would have wanted.
And remember, Goff got banged up towards the end of the year. I mean, that's a perfect spot for him to come in and get 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Look good, get go somewhere else.
Yeah,
go somewhere else, get paid. Remember, Seattle, the Packers had a backup who had one game, then Seattle gave all that money, and they went with Russell Wilson. Right? Wasn't that
Cleveland? Hey, Cleveland could say, hey, we have a quarterback, we pay a lot of money, who always getting injured. Hey, maybe down the line, maybe I'd trade for him there because that could be the bridge. So I mean, there's a lot of options for him. I think that's good.
Detroit stuck.
Yeah,
they're stuck with Goff. They just gave him this money, and realistically, they're stuck for 3-4 years. So if Hooker gets a chance and shows that he can do something, they're not giving him the contract, so he'll go somewhere else. So I root for him.
So, Mike, before we close, did we give you and people like you, and there's a lot of you out there, something to watch in the preseason now?
No, but people are going to watch it because it's the NFL, so it doesn't matter. They'll be fine.
Oh, yeah, I want to see the rookies. I mean, I know we're not showing everything, but I do want to see Jaden Daniels. I don't really want to see Drake May. I think he's gonna not do well, and they're really gonna expose him on that joint. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a ton of rookies that I'm willing to see. What my boy Michael Marvin Harrison. Harrison, I want to see him play.
If Neighbors is playing, I'll watch. If the Giants are on TV, I'll watch them. But if Neighbors is playing, I'll definitely pay attention. Otherwise, because they'll get one series.
All right, so fans, to close, we are 4 weeks away from the Odd Coaches podcast season previews. Each week from July 9th through August 27th, we're going to take a deep dive into every division as we get ready for the NFL season, and we will even talk about things strictly for entertainment purposes only. But I'll tell you what we won't do. We ain't betting on preseason football. So if you're betting on preseason football, you need to go to meetings, okay? You need to go to meetings. So on behalf of our Cavalcade of Stars, I'm Dr. Keith Adams. So thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast. And we'll see you on the sidelines. Until next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA SAVE project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.